Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the My Team Career Mode journey for Cross GT Racing here in F1 23. Coming off a really disappointing performance in the last round. It was round 5, Spanish Grand Prix. A track that I actually quite like. So I was looking forward to it. It was a wet race. Yet for some reason the strategy kept calling for dry tyres. Every team was on dry tyres, and we were sort of thinking about changing to the Inters, seeing if maybe the Inter would be a little bit faster, because the car was all over the place. But that wasn't the disappointing part of the race. We were doing reasonably well, maintaining some good track position. We were in I think we were maintaining P7 for most of the race, which is really good. But it didn't really turn out the way we wanted, because lap 8 comes along and we have an engine failure. But the most frustrating part of that failure was the fact that we'd actually changed most of the components for this race. We had all new components for this race, and yet we still managed to have the really bad luck of having one of those parts die on us. So here it is here. Lap 8, we go a bit wide. We were battling with Perez for most of this lap, and then go wide, engine failure. There's smoke pouring out of the back. I initially thought, actually, in the last video, I thought that was Piastri, but he actually ended up passing us along with Perez there, which I didn't actually notice. So Norris getting a face full of smoke there. But we're moving ahead, we're moving on. It was only round 5. We're doing way better than we should be doing at this point in the season. We are currently P9 in the drivers, I think, still. We do get a bunch of free resource points, though, because of the work that they've done to figure out what the issue was. So even though we lose a part, we gain a bunch of resource points, which is great. Spark plugs there, upgraded. I think those actually went on before the last race, but we haven't come back into the facilities screen or the R&D screen. So we're going to do another powertrain upgrade to replace that one. We still have the best powertrain in the grid so far. Marketing event. We're going to get ourselves some extra acclaim, or some extra team acclaim. We want to keep getting more of that, boosting that up. Get another sponsor on the team. We got a second sponsor. Well, I suppose it's technically a third sponsor for the team, but a secondary sponsor for the team before the last race. But that's pretty much it for the facility, so not a whole lot happening there. It's a pretty quick turnaround to the Canadian Grand Prix. I don't even think we got an upgrade on the car this time around. It was just one that we got right before the last race. But a whole bunch of discounts through practice, extra acclaim. We're almost at acclaim level 11. We are now. We're at team claim level 11, which is great for us. Heading into qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix. Q1 Canadian Grand Prix, probably my it probably is my favourite track in the calendar. Ever since F1 21, when we had a really, really good time. I think most weekends we came to this track, we did really well. We have had an engine failure or two at this track, but overall, you take those out, we've actually driven really well here. I really like the track. It's a really fast-paced track. And it's just good for, just good for racing, really. Just as simple as that. It's just a good racetrack, in my opinion. So we're feeling really comfortable in the car. We've replaced the engine part that failed. It was one of the new ones. I was hoping it was one of the older ones that we'd left on, either the energy store or I can't remember what the other one is. But we did one lap, good enough for P10. Didn't need to improve. We were already through into Q2, so might as well keep the parts as fresh as possible. Magnussen there looking to come across. He was giving us the space, so that kind of throws us off our line heading into the chicane. before the start finish line. That's right, he did it far enough back and it didn't really affect us that much. But I'm not really sure what he was thinking of there, because I'm pretty sure he'd already done a lap at that point. Because we've let, most of the cars come out and do their lap, rubber in the track a bit and just wait for it all to clear enough that we can get a lap in without too many distractions or just people getting in the way, really. I felt like a little bit backslidey, we'll say, around that hairpin at the end there. But we are trying to hit that, trying to hit a later apex in that corner so we can get on the power earlier, and just see if that has any sort of effect. And it looks like it does. We've managed to go P1 in Q2, which is great, and we stay there as well. We managed to finish 6/10 ahead of Sainz and Leclerc, the two Red Bulls sitting there. Sergio Perez in P4, Verstappen though back in P8, just ahead of just behind the two Mercedes cars. So looks like the grid's starting to change a little bit. Maybe some of the other teams getting some more upgrades on the car. Maybe Perez had an upgrade package that Verstappen didn't have. I find that hard to believe, but you never know. But back out Q3, we've let everyone else go. Let the track rubber in, let it all clear out. We're the only ones on track at the moment, so we've had free reign to use the track as we see fit, and we are definitely pushing the envelope, or whatever you want to call it. We're pushing it here in this lap. It looked like a little bit of a slide there at the hairpin again, but looking really good. A little bit of a cheeky corner cut there on the hairpin. We have done, well, not the hairpin, the chicane. We have done that through most of practice, and we managed to get fast as again. We managed to smash our last time in Q2, a 1:12.7. That's almost a full second ahead of Hamilton at the end of qualifying 3. So we end up getting P1 in Q3 for the race. Hopefully that means we can convert that into points on race day.
Montreal is not only the second largest French-speaking city in the world, but it's home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. The name Villeneuve looms large over this one, but who can write their own legends today? With top speeds of around 210 miles per hour heading into the overtaking opportunity of turn 13, the 2.7 miles of the circuit Gilles Villeneuve are some of the quickest on the Formula One calendar. There are 14 corners in total, with 60% of the lap taken at full throttle, and average speeds clock in at about 130 miles per hour. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. The captain lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Norris, Perez, Sainz, Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Hülkenberg, Albon, Stroll, Joe, Magnussen, Gasly, Bottas, Ocon, Sargent, Tsunoda, De Vries, Enzo Fittipaldi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And joining me again for the race today, Natalie Pinkham. Now, can I get your take on Max Verstappen? That was a great win in the last race, but can they keep that momentum going into this weekend?
Well, there are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out will have boosted their confidence coming into this race.
A little bit odd there, no radio message from the engineers or the guys on the pit wall for our awesome P1 starting position, but that's okay. We'll just do our thing, I suppose. Taking a look at the strategy, mediums to hards. Going to stretch the mediums out a bit. I think we could do it on this track. Maybe even stretch them out long enough to go into softs. As we're off and away for the Canadian Grand Prix, Hamilton looking to make a move at turn 1. Can we go around the outside? We've gone very wide here. Hamilton ends up taking P1 straight away. And we are all over him. Looking to go up the inside. Oh, that was cheeky. Went off the track there. But luckily, no warning. No need to take the position back or anything like that. That was definitely a very cheeky move, but did need to go a little bit tighter on that corner. We were right up alongside him, or alongside him enough as we clipped the wall with our back wheel there. But no damage to the car, luckily. But yeah, we did have to go a bit tighter around that corner because Hamilton did come right across, and I'm pretty sure we were alongside him enough that he needed to give us the space. So we're going to use that excuse, and hopefully the stewards end up just, you know, leaving us be with that instance. But we did manage to get P1 back, so now we're P1, and things are looking pretty good for us. We're on the medium compound tyre. Looks like most of the other front runners will be on the hards, or at least the other four behind us are on the hards at the moment. So they'll be looking to go long, maybe even going on to softs for the last part of the race. But either way, it does put them in a really good position if they can maintain a decent gap to us. Then they will have a tyre compound advantage over us in the last stint, unless we can stretch these out long enough that we go into the softs. But if the AI are thinking hards are the way to go for the first stint, then maybe it'll be a bit too far afield for us to stretch these out enough to go into the softs. But that's okay. We can use this to our advantage. We can try and build a good lead, and hopefully the rest of the guys behind us will be battling it out and slowing each other down, and we'll just have open track to contend with. And then when we go onto the hards, great, now we've got ourselves a DRS issue. Not that affects us at the moment, because we can't get DRS anyway because we're in first, so not that big of a deal. But if they can't fix it, then it might be an issue, you know, once we start going into pit stops and things. As we slide around that corner, a little bit of a drift in Formula 1 now. Don't know how we managed that, but we managed to hold on to it. It's now lap 8, so we've skipped ahead a bit. Nothing's really changing. Everyone's sort of staying in their position. It's been a pretty, dare I say, boring race so far from a spectator point of view. But it's great for us, because it means that, you know, we're still just sitting pretty up the front. A little bit of a slide coming out of that hairpin corner as well, which has opened up the door a little bit for Hamilton. He's closing the gap. Our tyres are starting to wear out. Now we get a track limits warning. We're pushing the boundary too much through that little chicane, that downhill chicane. Hamilton 1.7 seconds by 1.5. He's starting to close the gap. So now it looks like we're at that crossover point where the mediums are now slower than the hards. Hamilton is now within DRS range, and we are starting to miss apexes. Not so much because of the tyres, it's also just the inconsistency from the driver. You know, I say the driver because I don't want to necessarily just say that I'm not good at it, but you know, we all know that it's me. But anyway, half a second gap to Hamilton now. He's going to have DRS, but the gap to Leclerc 2.5 seconds, so there's no DRS there for him to get on Hamilton. So we've only got Hamilton to contend with right now, which is good. You know, the more drivers that get involved, the more likely it is we're going to drop positions or make mistakes. There's also a bigger risk of contact and damage to the car and stuff. So if it's only going to be Hamilton and myself battling it out, then that's fine. I can deal with that. As we go a bit wide through that hairpin there, but it looks, and we had a little bit of slide there too, but it also looks like that Hamilton had to ease off a little bit there. Maybe our line coming out of that corner threw him off his racing line, and it's helped us out a lot because now we're 8.5 tenths ahead of him. So we've managed to, you know, turn a mistake that we made into a big positive there, and use that to our advantage to keep Hamilton at bay. Lap 11 now. So we are over a third of the way through the race, and the tyres are starting to wear out a bit. I think our pit window is lap 13, maybe, or lap 14. I suppose it depends on where you are and where your pit lane is, or where your pit entry is. But yeah, well, Hamilton's now losing some time to us. Well, not so much losing time, we're gaining time on him. Leclerc's 3 seconds behind. Hamilton's outside of DRS range, which is the big thing for us. Oh, big slide there. Went off and clipped the dirt a little bit onto the grass, lost all traction and managed to hold on to it just enough to be able to realign ourselves and get around those first few corners there. But that will have cost us a lot of time. Carlos Sainz is now out of this session. Looks like he has, I'm assuming he's pulled over due to some sort of engine failure. Yep, there it is. As soon as he went on the brakes, that engine was gone. There's smoke everywhere, and he's just pulled off to the side of the road. So that would be where that yellow flag was coming from. So one Ferrari out of this race, the other sitting in P3 at the moment. But of course, this good buddy Russell is gaining on him, and Hamilton is looking to make a move on us here, but he gives us the space. Oh, big slide there, which opens the door for Hamilton. He goes side by side with us out of the hairpin, but we managed to get on the power early enough to pull ahead. He's going to have DRS here, so he's going to gain some time on us, or maybe not. We are using our battery as much as we can here, but Hamilton's into the pits. So Hamilton is now coming in to the pit lane, and I would assume that a lot of the other front runners are as well. Looks like Leclerc's in. I think that was Norris. Yeah, one McLaren in, one McLaren staying out. So I think that's Norris coming in. So a lot of teams now are starting to bring their drivers in, heading on to new tyres. Hamilton onto mediums. So the hard to medium strategy is what the AI is going for. Our tyre wear, our rear tyres, 40%, you know, and we are sliding a lot. Another slide there. We weren't even going that fast around that hairpin. We went wide, and we still managed to slide there. So these tyres are looking pretty much gone right now. Russell sitting in P2. He'll take over the lead when we go into the pit lane. We're going to stay out one more lap, though. We did have a pretty good run in that last lap. Yeah, sure, we did have a slide there, but we did handle it pretty well, and I think we can maybe gain some more time on this next lap. It does, however, look like maybe we made a bit of a bad call there, as Hamilton is closing the gap pretty quickly now. He's on fresh mediums, we're on old mediums. He's 11 seconds behind. I think at the start of the lap he was like maybe 12 or 13 seconds behind us, so he's gained a couple of seconds on us. So not great for us,
Okay, we can
but
take you this lap.
we had to take a risk there. I did feel confident after that other lap, after the last lap, that maybe we could gain some time, or at least stretch that stint out a little bit longer on a faster compound. But looks like we maybe should have hit into the pits that lap earlier, but that's okay. You know, we can still fight back. Hamilton taking the lead of the race for now. No guarantee he will stay there. He does have quite a big lead there over Leclerc. And if we go back to before that little shot there into the pits, we're onto the hards. Good stop there. We're heading out of the pit lane now. Russell's coming up alongside it. It's going to be a race to see who can get ahead, as we just come out of the pit lane. We're ahead for now, and we managed to hold on and stay ahead of Russell, who was looking to jump up into P3. Mercedes looking for another double podium this race, but hopefully that was enough for us to keep him out of there and cement a podium finish for us. It's less than a second gap to Russell, so he's within DRS range. Piastri in P5, he's almost 4.5 seconds behind, so we're not too worried about him at this point. He is on medium, so he's going to be on a faster compound, but hopefully if we can, you know, have some good pace, by the later laps in this race, that switch over will have happened, and the hards will then become faster than the mediums. But we still have Russell to contend with. We've, managed to hold on for a few laps now. He's over a second behind us now. I'm not really sure what happened there. Maybe we just had a really good run. I mean, we've gone purple through sector 1 on hards, so we've had a really good first sector. So that's probably why we managed to gain some time on him. Leclerc 2.5 seconds ahead of us. Not impossible for us to claw that back, but with the tyre compound difference, that might be too much of a challenge for us at this point. But we're going to keep pushing. Hamilton 6 seconds ahead. He's light years ahead of everyone else, so not really focusing on him. Bit of a slide there out of the hairpin, so even with fresher tyres, we've still got the issue of sliding. So I think it's just the fact that we're just on the throttle too much, too early before we really straightened up, and it's just kicking the back of the car out. But we can deal with that. That's an easy fix. Just playing around with the throttle control a little bit. Russell's now back within DRS range. Leclerc's pulling away, so we haven't had that great of a lap there. The end of the lap probably not as good as we really wanted in that first sector. Probably not our best first sector. I mean, definitely not our best first sector. Probably one of the worst first sectors we've had there. Russell is now alongside us on the DRS straight. We've given him the space, but we've had to duck out across the track there. We managed to hold on to the position. No penalty there, as we went off the throttle when we went off the track, so we didn't use it to gain time or anything. But we just gave Russell the space because the racing line kind of cuts across those corners there, so really didn't want to risk damage there, so we went off the track. Luckily the stewards saw it that way and haven't penalised us at all. And we're back to over a second ahead of Russell. But that just really comes down to his performance now, because we're 4.5 seconds behind Leclerc, so we've lost over 2 seconds to Leclerc in the last couple of laps. And now we've managed to gain them back. Lap 24, going through the chicane for the second to last time. We can see Leclerc up ahead, but we're not going to be able to gain 3 seconds on him. So it all comes down to, can we hold off Russell in this last lap? We missed the apex a bit there, which means we're not in a very good position for that long sweeping right-hander. And Russell is starting to close that gap, less than 7 tenths to us now. Old mediums versus not as old hards. Mercedes versus Cross GT Racing. Russell wants that P3, he wants that podium. Mercedes want another double podium. I think they've double podiumed most races this season so far. This is only race 6, but I think at least there's only been one race that I can remember where they haven't double podiumed. So they're really fighting for that. More points for Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. Russell's closing in really quick. He's not close enough to catch up to us. A big slide there, heading into the hairpin, but we have the power heading out of that corner. Our power unit, the best one on paper, and it's helping us out here. Russell is using all of his battery to try and catch up to us. I don't think it's going to be enough. Can we hold on? We go through the chicane for the final time, and it's not enough for Russell to catch up to us. P3 for Cross GT Racing here in Canada.
Yes, mate, I'll take that. Well done. We're really happy with the podium down here, so well done. Yes!
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, what a race. At the end of the day, it is all about raw pace, and our winner had it in spades today.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
So there we have it. Canadian Grand Prix done and dusted. We're P3. We're up there on the podium. We're standing next to 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, who claims himself another win this season. I think he's won before. He must have. He's up the top there in the driver's standings. He must have won. But there's another win in the career of Lewis Hamilton. Almost 5.5 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc in P2. But a big victory for Ferrari as well, getting P2. There's a bunch of extra points for them, especially considering Sainz had to retire early on in the race due to an engine failure there. P3 for us, George Russell in P4, getting some more points for Mercedes. Verstappen and Perez P7 and P8. So things not looking good in recent times for Red Bull. Verstappen's still up there though. He's P2, so we've had another change in the driver's standings. Hamilton jumping ahead by 7 points. George Russell's still hanging in there. He's 18 points behind Hamilton. I'm pretty sure 2 races ago it was a 13-point gap between him and his teammate who was in P1 at the time as well. So, he's hanging in there. He's still in contention. He's not that far off. Of course, so are some of the others as well. But as we take a look at the constructor standings, Mercedes have now gained a 35-point lead over Red Bull. That P7 and P8 today not gaining many points for the Red Bull team. But another double podium for Mercedes puts them out in front, looking to gain another constructors title this year. We're still sitting in P6, but now we have a massive gap over Alpine. What was that? 22 points now between us and Alpine. I think it was like 11 before. So huge jump for us. Now we just need to try and maintain it heading through the rest of the season, and we might get a really good payout at the end to really boost the team for next season. We get all of our objectives done this time, so plenty of money coming through, which is definitely going to help out the team, sitting on almost $2 million right now. But there we have it. Canadian Grand Prix done and dusted. Started P1, managed to finish P3. For a new team in the sport, definitely a huge accomplishment there. I would have loved to have won this race. It is, like I said, I think at the start, it's probably one of my favourite races. Well, it probably is my favourite race. I love racing this track. So it would have been nice to win, but realistically, we shouldn't be fighting for podiums or wins. Again, I did tweak the difficulty for this one based on time trial lap times and average lap times and stuff like that, to come up with for the calculator to give me a difficulty for this race. And we did bump it up a bit for this run compared to the last couple. So the difficulty is, it's not like it's too easy, but we've just got a car that we've kind of broken the game a little bit. We're focusing on the powertrain. We've got the best powertrain or power unit in the sport right now. We've got the Ferrari one, which is definitely putting us up there, and we've just focused heavily on chassis, which is pretty OP in these F1 games. So yeah, it's good for now, but I don't know if it's going to last. We're trying to do what we can now, because later on the season, when the other teams start getting their upgrades on, things might change. Some of those later tracks I'm not overly good at, so maybe it'll even out as we go, but we're just going to keep riding our success at the moment, and hopefully we can set ourselves up well coming into the end of the season. But there we have it. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, let me know in the comments what you thought. If you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Thanks for watching.